There are so many people right now telling you to start investing, to buy gold, to get into crypto, and to avoid tech stocks because everything is about to burst. But which of these are actually right and what should you do? I spent years in the market the wrong way, trading penny stocks, trading stock options, picking individual stocks, and chasing a market that made me a lot of money one week and wiped it out the next week. So in this video, I'm going to cut through everything that I learned the hard way about investing and give you a strategy that actually works. So let's start with the basics. What's investing and why does it matter to you right now? At its core, investing is just your money making more money. And you can't afford to skip this because you're losing money right now, whether you're investing or not. Let me give you a simple example of how this has hit me personally recently. Now, I like to stay in shape, and drinking protein shakes is something that I do on a regular basis. Now, there's a protein gold standard whey that I used to buy at Costco for $50 just a few years ago. Today, that same bag of protein is $75. There's nothing different about the ingredients. There's nothing different even about the packaging. That's just inflation. And this shows up in all your other groceries, your gas, your rent, your mortgage, and everything you buy consistently. The prices keep going up, but the money sitting in your checking account stays the same. So what your dollars could buy you 5 years ago cannot buy the same today. And that gap keeps widening every single year. So doing nothing feels safe, but doing nothing is a guaranteed way for you to continue to lose money over time. The second reason investing became urgent to me was when I started to think about retirement. When I actually sat down and thought about it, it freaked me out. And it's not because I'm getting close to retirement, but because I realized I had been spending so much time in the market trying to make money the wrong way, and I didn't have anything to show for it. So I felt behind. And that feeling of being behind is one of the most powerful emotions that you can deal with if you handle it the right way, because it'll make you start looking for other opportunities and other ways to do things the correct way to catch up. And it made me stop wasting time on approaches that just weren't going to work for me. All right, so now that we've covered why investing really matters, let's talk about the stock market and really break down how it works, because a lot of people have a concept of it, but they don't really understand exactly how it works. Now, when you buy a share of a company, you're buying a small part of ownership of that company. So if you buy one share of Apple, you are a part owner of Apple. And you're saying that you believe in that company and you expect it to keep growing in the future so you can make more money on the shares that you bought. Now, there are two main ways that you can make money when it comes to investing in stocks. The first way is when you buy it at a good price and you sell at a higher price. And the second way is dividends. Dividends are payouts that the company gives you for being a shareholder of their stock. And a lot of times companies will pay out quarterly depending on how much money they profited and how many shares you hold. Now, here's where I used to mess up. I went into the stock market thinking that I could pick the winners, whether it was penny stocks, big board stocks, or stock options. I spent too much time and mental energy trying to pick the winners and trying to chase trends. And I had some wins. The biggest one was an options trade that made me $17,000. $17,000 from one trade after investing $2,000. And I thought I was on top of the world. I thought I had everything figured out. So I took that $17,000 and I kept trading it. And I kept trading it all the way down to zero. And that's because there are two emotions that will destroy your investment account if you're not careful. And that's fear and greed. Greed made me keep trading when I knew I should have stopped. And fear made me make irrational decisions when the market moved against me, hoping that the market would turn in my favor again. Those two emotions together are an extremely strong force, and it will destroy your account and your investments if you're not able to find a way to avoid them consistently. Now, the smarter approach, the one that I moved to and have been very grateful that I did, is index funds, specifically the S&P 500 index funds. Now, an index fund is a big basket of stocks. These can hold hundreds or even thousands of stocks, and they're designed to track the overall market or a specific sector. Now, the S&P 500 specifically holds the 500 largest companies in the US. So instead of betting on one company, you're betting on the entire market, and you're assuming that all the boats will rise together. Now, here's how that looks historically. $100 invested into the S&P 500 back in 1996 with dividends reinvested will be roughly $1,700 to $1,800 today. And that's without you putting one extra dollar into the market. So that's about a 10% average annual return over the 30 years. And it's not because there was some genius picking a whole bunch of stocks. That's just because the market tends to go up over time. And if you're in the market long enough, you will see that happen to your account as well. Now, honestly, index funds seem to be extremely boring to me at first. After the action of trading stock options and penny stocks, it was too slow and it felt like I was never going to make the money that I wanted to. But when it comes to investing, boring and consistency will always get you better returns over the long term than anything that's volatile or trendy. And you won't destroy your mental health in the process. Index funds let you build your account without the emotional roller coaster that you'll go through when you're trying to pick winners and you're trying to time the market bottoms and tops. Now, the specific fund that I love and I'm heavily invested in is FXAIX, and that's Fidelity's S&P 500 index fund. Now, the reason I chose FXAIX is pretty simple. It had the best track record that I found. The fees are extremely low. And when I looked at the companies that it held, I recognized almost every company that fund holds. And these are companies that I would want to be invested in individually anyway. Things like Apple, Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. All of these are in the S&P 500. So instead of trying to pick the winners one by one, I can own all of them at the same time. And that simplicity is what I needed after years of overcomplicating and risking my money doing all of these wild strategies. All right, so now you know what to invest in. Here's how to get started step by step. The first step is to pick your platform. I use Fidelity, and I have been using them for years now, but you can use any of these popular brokers. I've also used E-Trade in the past, TD Ameritrade before they were bought by Charles Schwab. I've tried many different kinds of brokers, but Fidelity is by far my favorite. The interface is clean and very easy to understand. Connecting your bank is straightforward. Transferring money is really easy, and they genuinely have great customer service and very easy to work with. And for index fund investing specifically, Fidelity is great because FXAIX is with Fidelity. The thing that you'll notice is that there are many different kinds of S&P 500 index funds, but they're going to be different depending on the broker. So you won't be able to find FXAIX in another broker. But whatever platform you choose, just make sure that it's regulated and it has low fees for whatever you plan to invest in. Now, step 2 is to open up your account and set it up correctly. For most people, the best account to start with is a Roth IRA. This is the retirement account where you can contribute money that you've already been taxed on, so the money that you grow in this account is all tax-free. All the gains and all your withdrawals during retirement are going to be tax-free. So for anyone in their 30s, this is one of the best accounts that you can open up for yourself. And currently, the contribution limit is $7,500 if you're under the age of 50, because you know there will always be a limit to anything that's going to benefit you the most. So setting up my account was really simple. I put in my tax information, I connected my bank, and I was ready to go in about 20 minutes. There's nothing intimidating about this once you actually sit down and do it. Step 3 is to choose your investment. You already know I'm a big fan of FXAIX because it's simple and it's just been working very well for a long time. But there are plenty of other index funds depending on your interests and what you want to invest in. I personally started with $1,000 simply because that was the amount that I started with when I very first got into the stock market, and it just felt like a good amount. Not too small, but also not too large either as I'm trying to build and learn. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I first started, after investing at $1,000, things were very slow and very boring. Compared to the previous ways that I was making money in the stock market, investing in an index fund felt like sleepy time. But years later, as I'm looking at the account now, I'm very happy and I'm very grateful that I stuck with that approach and I didn't get distracted trying to make money in different ways that I did in the past. All I had to do was consistently deposit into the account, buy more of the index fund, and ignore it over time. Now, step 4 is to automate it. If you know you don't have the discipline to do it manually, you want to set up a recurring transfer from your bank account to your investment account before you have the chance to spend it on something that you don't need. Now, this is called dollar cost averaging. So some months you're going to be buying when the market is pretty high. Some months you're going to be buying when the market is pretty low. Your job is not to time the market. Your job is just to invest consistently and be patient, because over time this will average out and you don't have to worry about overthinking anything. So the goal is to make investing something that happens every month without you having to make any special decisions, because when investing becomes a decision that you have to make, you will find a way to not do it and spend your money elsewhere. Trust me. Now, before you sell the dog and the cats in the house and put all your life savings into this index fund, what happens if everything goes wrong? What if the market crashes? Here's my honest answer. If you would have asked me this 7 to 8 years ago, I would say you need to panic, because that was a habit that I built from trading. When the position moved against me, my immediate reflex was to panic, sell as fast as I can, cut my loss, and try to build it back the next trade. The instinct makes sense because technically a stock could go to zero. So when you see a stock crashing, you automatically assume it's going to zero and it's never coming back. But index funds are different, and understanding why they're different will change how you approach market drops when they do happen. When you're invested in the S&P 500 index, you're not investing just in one company. You're investing in hundreds and hundreds of companies. So for that fund to go to zero, every single one of those companies will have to go to zero as well. And that's just not a realistic scenario. That's not even a scenario that's worth planning, because if all these major companies went to zero, the last thing on your mind will be your investment account. We will have way bigger issues going on. So when the market drops now, my instinct is to get excited and buy more. Now, the COVID crash is a perfect example of this. Everybody was flipping out, losing their minds, telling you to sell everything. It's over. The stock market is done. Get out. Now, the market dropped pretty hard in a matter of days. And I felt that discomfort too. I want to be honest about that. Even knowing what I know now about long-term investing, it was still uncomfortable to see all these companies dropping percentage points upon percentage points every single day. But I finally learned something over the years that most people never learn. Following the herd in the stock market is almost a guarantee way for you to lose money. When everybody is doing the same thing, you need to be considering doing the opposite. When everyone is panicking and selling everything, this might be the best buying opportunity you have in a long time. And buying assets and stocks on sale is how people build wealth. Even though it felt extremely uncomfortable during that time, I bought more and I invested more. When the market recovered, which it typically always does, it brought my account to up over 60% gains. And it wasn't because I was clever about timing the market or I had some special information. It was just because I stuck to my discipline and I kept buying consistently no matter if the market was up or down. So when the market does drop, look at it as a discount and a way for you to make more money when the market does turn around. Then the way I protect myself from these emotions is focusing on the long term. You're not investing in the index fund 1 week and then you're trying to sell it 3 months later. We're trying to build wealth over time. So automate your contributions, invest in index funds, ignore the market drop, and continue to invest consistently. And when you see everybody panicking, if you have extra money, buy some more. Now that's the entire strategy. Now if you want to know exactly how I built my side income to be able to invest into the stock market more consistently without having to worry about my paycheck, check out this next video here.